I met my wife in 2011. I was DJ in a social event at school and playing some Nines rocks. I was playing Third Eye Blind, and my wife liked the song that came on. She talked to me. We bonded over our mutual love of the band. Yada yada da. And we started dating. Fast forward to 2013, we got engaged and we took a trip to celebrate. We have this memory. We talk about a lot of listening to the whole Third Eye Blind catalog and singing along to all the songs. Together, we got married that year. Fast forward through our whole marriage, we had this thing where we would try to see the band as much as we could. We saw them whenever they were on tour, a total 9 times during our 9 years of marriage. Last night, we were supposed to see them for the 10th time. If you're the math in your head, we've been married for 10 years as well. That's coming up in November. So I had this whole thing planned, where we would go see the show, stay over at a hotel, and have a romantic night. I get home from work on Friday. My wife is getting ready. I see a text come on her phone. You know how the rest of the story goes. I don't even want to type it. She met some guy the night before when I were away for work. The part that killed me the most was she wrote that he needed to get condoms, and he said L. So I'm left wondering, do they even use any? What does it matter anymore anyway? After reading that, I just left the house and started for the concert. She called me about 15 minutes later and said, "Where are you, N?" "Oh, just on the way to the show." She, what? YNE. You know why think long and hard about why I might be acting this way. I just hung up anyway. I think I was in shock. Still, I was pretty cool about it, but there's some backstory there I don't want to get into as to why I was prepared. She's cheated twice before in the past. I didn't really have any emotions at the time, actually. When I started typing, this was the first time I felt anything. So she calls back and starts going through the motions. "Oh, we are just friends. Oh, we didn't actually do it. Oh, I was drunk. Oh, it was just in a little bit. Then it was all come back. And let's talk about this like goals, as if I'm the childish one for having stormed out." I'm thinking, no, if that happens, I'm not seeing this show. We're just going to talk about how she cheated, and she's going to try and seduce me, and that thought grossed me out. I never thought about sex with my wife and felt gross, but then I did. So I got to the concert, and the guy scanned my ticket. He looks at me and says, "There's 2, indicating that he wanted to scan. The other one, I just stared at him blankly and said, "Yes, there's 2. I was so weird. I felt like I was hypnotized. Then there was the show. Amazing show. I met some nice people in my row, and we had a fun time enjoying the concert together. Some lyrics hit a little differently. I've never been so alone, and I've never felt more alive. I felt pretty alive at the concert. I danced with the crowd and screamed my frustrations into the loudspeakers. No one could hear me over the loud rock music. It was over pretty early. I wanted to sit at the bar and drink. That would have required talking to someone, and I just couldn't outside of the context of the context. I was thinking about the texts again. So I went to the hotel I had booked for my wife and me and went to sleep alone. I woke up to about 30 emails. She was up all night, feeling all kinds of emotions. I guess guilt, shame, anger at me. Those were the most surreal. The ones where she was mad at me for going through her phone. A lot of bargaining and pleading. The worst was, she had sent me cards I had written for her years before. Anniversary cards, birthday cards, Christmas cards. I always wrote a letter for her professing my love for her. I never used to write anyone cards like these, but I did for her. She used to write cards like these for me. She hasn't in a number of years. I think she intended that upon reading the cards, my heart would soften and I would realize how much I loved her. I would come to my senses and come to her, and we would talk it through, and I would forgive her, and it would all be better. But instead, it just made me realize how much she doesn't love me. At this point, I can't forgive her. I forgave her once, and here we are. The only question now is whether I respect myself to make sure this never happens to me again. Update, it's been a long month. I'll say that to start. Usually the months go by, but I don't know how it's only been a few weeks, maybe because the days have been long and I've been staying with my parents. I'm feeling like myself again, and I'm still stone cold. With respect to my soon-to-be wife, I saw lawyer, any drafted divorce papers from what I understand. Service hasn't even been rendered yet, and I can understand why. Because she's completely manic. How do I know? Well, one day she sent me 19 emails in the span of 10 minutes each with a picture from our relationship or from her phone recently. Here are some of the subject lines. One, I've been working on myself, and we can do butt stuff. Picture of her dinner. 2, studying all day and night and working on science. A picture of a whiteboard with nonsense on it. 3, barista and biochemist Miss Yuo. Picture of her coffee. 4, I painted this. The attached picture was a work of fine art. She certainly didn't paint. 5, and I take care of my family. Picture of wind chimes. 6, and I made 50 to be a model for this. 7, I'm sorry. I'm just sad about Grandma and Andy. Andy died 20 years ago. 8, and I learned how to cook Japanese. Picture of Storb Sushi. 9, and I sold my first photograph for Tank. 10, and I cook vegan in Napa. Picture of a bowl of soup. 11, you can lick my butt, and I'll lick your butter. I'm free at 4:20 at our house. Picture of a beer can. 12, a smirking emoji. This was just a picture of an olive looking like a vagina. 13, I'll never cheat again. I'm sorry. 14, wearing this. This one kills me. It was just her outfit now. I'm not looking for nudes or sexy photos from her or anything. But if she's trying to get me back, she won't even send me the same level of she was sending her affair partners. She would send them nudes and explicit photos, and I've never gotten those in our entire relationship. Even when we were first dating. 15, for kids. This was a picture of our cats. 16, we can have a baby too. This one wasn't a picture but had the text, I'm sorry for being buyer. I'll be nicer and go to the mental hospital. 17, mental health matters. Hope you get help for bowler too. Miss you. This is her accusing me of being bipolar. The final message had this subject, I will never cheat again, and you can do my butt. So, my conclusion here is that she is batshit manic. Obviously, she's showing me all the reasons I left her. We never even talked about or had anal sex. It's not something I ever wanted, so I don't know why. She's saying this, unless she did it with her affair partner. Some of the messages come a couple of days later, which are as follow. I'm pregnant. It's not my ex from 13 years ago, so I don't know why you are so nuts. And lastly, are you going to help me get an abortion or not? Beyond this, one thing she did was call my work phone and leave a message. She said she talked with my attorney, and he told her that 2 people who love each other should not get a divorce, and they should stay together and get counseling, which he definitely did not say to her. Now, here is the icing on the cake. As if this weren't bad enough. Actually, there's icing and the filling. I'll get to that next. The icing is that coming home from work on Thursday, I get a call from the police. They are stored in my phone as a contact at this point. Since I've had to deal with them so much, they are well aware of our situation, as they've been called by her at least half a dozen times. So, they are apologetic and say, so your wife is saying that you broke into the house with a key and stole an antique doll dress. I explained no, I didn't, and I also, if I were to enter the house, it would have been legal since I am on the lease, pay the rent, and nothing is restricting me from entering the premises like a restraining order. The cop agreed with me. I thanked him for doing his job honestly. Anyone who says all cops are bad now. These guys have been really understanding about the situation, but now I have to talk to my lawyer on Monday about this because it's so. Here's the cake filling. Friday was my birthday. I turned 37 and celebrated mostly alone. She calls my work at 11:00 p.m. She leaves a voice message and I listen to it thinking she's going to wish me happy birthday. Nope. She asks for money. She asks me to pay some bills. She tells me I'm starving her. She tells me I need to give her money every week, and then she hangs up. She didn't even wish me a happy birthday. So even in her world where she's trying to win me back and gain my favor, she can't even do that right anyway. As for me, I'm doing okay. I went to a Jimmy Eater concert last night at the Man in Philly, alone, of course. I had bought the tickets a while ago and again had to go through the indignity of the ticket person asking about the second ticket and me having to say just me, but I had more fun there alone than I had with my wife. I danced all night, and at one point a lady said to me, "You look like a hot bowl of soup," which cracked me up. I probably would have talked with her if I were in a better headspace, but my divorcing status is like kryptonite. No one wants to deal with that, and I don't blame them. This makes me sad, because it seems like this is how it's going to be for the foreseeable future, me alone with no dating prospects. But at this point, I feel like I'll be single till I'm 40. Kids are probably not going to happen for me unless I find someone much younger. I don't know. I went to Hiachi for my birthday with my family, and there were a lot of people there on their birthday. I was envious of the 80-year-old woman with a huge family of multiple generations. I realized when I was that age, if I got that far, I won't have anyone by my sister at this rate. Maybe I'll have a wife, but not a family like that. Worse still, my mom was talking about her lack of grandkids at the dinner. So yeah, that's some of my sadness coming through. So I'm not okay. I guess hopefully I have some more progress soon on the divorce front. Story number 2. My girlfriend of S years cheated on me with my roommate. I, male 25, was with my girlfriend 26 for 7 years. Lived together with 2 other guy roommates for the last 3 years. She started night shift a few years ago and quickly distanced herself from me. She wouldn't cuddle when we watched TV on her days off and only came to bed to cuddle for a minute or two when I went to bed each night. There was a time when she would have off for a week or two, and she would spend most of that time with my roommate, who I met because we lived together in dorms at college. Freshman year, their time was usually to smoke weed together when guests were at the house, but always seemed a little more. I told myself that was just unreasonable jealousy, because these are 2 people I trusted with my life. Fast forward to about a year ago, I had lost my job, and my dad passed away within a month of each other. I really needed support, but was still fighting for some affection from her. But no work is first. I had no effort left to fight the night shift, so I stopped rushing home for the few minutes I got to spend watching her do her makeup before leaving for the night. Mysteriously, she started spending a lot more time with my roommate around the same time I would wake up in the middle of the night to them upstairs laughing and living it up. This whole time she blames me for not wanting to spend time together when she leaves for work at 7:00 p.m. and goes to bed around 5 a.m. I just graduated with an engineering degree and have been looking for a career to really establish my life. So night shift isn't really an option. Most places she refused to accept that I couldn't change to the night shift without throwing away my career that I've worked so hard for. Next thing I know, he's staying up later explicitly to spend time with me here after work. He doesn't work and just sits at home, so moving when he sleeps doesn't affect him at all. She then started waking up earlier to go on hikes with him while I was at work. She finally offed the relationship and blamed my lack of effort to spend time together. 2 days later, they went on a date, and the next morning she came out of his room early in the morning. I moved out that day. They both claimed neither had feelings like that, but I didn't buy it and left. Fast forward a few months, and now they are openly dating. Our other roommate confronted them about lying to both of us about their feelings for each other and betraying us. They both argued that their feelings for each other started after the breakup, but that's clearly not what was happening. This is someone I was ready to marry, but she didn't want to spend time together. She swears that she's known for years that I would never marry her, and she cheated with my roommate, whom I called a brother, for years. If someone mentioned cheating, she would blow off on a rant about how cheaters are the worst, and if I ever cheated, she would never talk to me again, and how cheating doesn't have to be physical now that she cheated, and I blew up on them. As she promised, they both doubled down on denying cheating. I have never been more betrayed in my life. The night we finally broke up, she came down to the bedroom, broke up with me, and within 60 seconds of leaving the room, she was upstairs in the living room, laughing up a storm with him, our other roommate. And my best friend didn't move out initially because we both still were trying to believe that they weren't that involved with each other. When it was clear their relationship was romantic, he confronted them, and they made up a lie trying to claim that I was just looking for an excuse to move in with my sister. My best friend flipped out and then moved out, and the 2 of them have no one left but each other. Neither have any friends outside of the house, and now they don't have any friends in general. They swear nothing was happening while we were still dating, but still found it necessary to try and hide the romantic part of their relationship from our roommate after I left, which just screams we know what we're doing but don't actually care about how terrible it is.